I rub my temples, staring at the mountain of paperwork on my desk. Another Friday night at the station, and the headache, brewing since morning, isn't helping my already sour mood. At 41, I'm the youngest fire chief in Pine Valley's history, but the administrative side of the job makes me miss being just another firefighter on the team. The station's alarm suddenly blares through the building, its harsh sound jerking me from my thoughts. I'm on my feet before my daughter, the dispatcher. Voice comes through. Structure fire reported at 1247 Maple Street. Possible victim trapped inside. All units respond immediately. My heart rate kicks up as adrenaline floods my system. Team, gear up, I shout, already moving toward the engine bay where men are scrambling into their turnout gear. Kane, my right-hand man for the past 5 years, is already climbing into the truck. Ashton and Max, the inseparable duo who've been with the apartment since I started, are right behind him, and so are Damon and Shane, the newest additions. Danny, our paramedic, grabs the medical kit before jumping in. Details? Max calls out as I take the driver's seat. Single-family home, one potential victim inside, I respond, hitting these sirens as we pull out of the station. Neighbor called it in after seeing smoke coming from the second floor. The engine roars through the streets of Pine Valley, other vehicles pulling aside to let us pass. My mind is already running through scenarios and strategies. A single-family home usually means a smaller structure, but typically more wooden construction, which means faster spread. We turn onto Maple Street, and my jaw clenches at the sight of orange flames licking up the side of the 2-story Victorian house. Smoke billows from Thoiper windows, thick and black, telling me this fire has been burning for a while before anyone noticed. Damon, Max, Ashton, and Kane take the first floor. Shane, you're with Moipes. Danny gets set up out here for medical. I bark orders as we jump out off the truck. Watch for structural weakness in the stairs. The heat hits me like a wall as we enter the house. Smoke reduces visibility almost nothing, forcing us to rely on our thermal imaging equipment. The roar of the fire fills my ears, along with the crackle of burning wood and the hiss of our oxygen tanks. Fire department, call out if you can hear us. My voice booms through my mask as we climb the stairs. Asterisk, asterisk, chief. Damon's voice crackles through the radio. First floor clear. Fire's worst upstairs. Copy that. Moving to the second floor now. I one-eed the way up the stairs, testing each step before putting my full weight down. The thermal scanner shows the fire is most intense in what appears to be a home office, but there's another heat signature in what looks like a bedroom, over there. Shane points toward the bedroom door, which is closed. A lucky break that has probably bought us some time. I approach the door, checking it for heat before pushing it open. The smoke isick, but my scanner picks up a form huddled in the corner by the window. I've got her, I call out, moving quickly to the unconscious woman's side. She's curled into a ball. A wet cloth pressed to her face. Smart thinking Thathos probably saved her life. As I scoop her into my arms, something unexpected happens. Even through me gear and the chaos around us, I feel how perfectly she fits against my chest. She's soft and curvy, and despite the suit and smoke, I catch a hint of something sweet, like vanilla and flowers. I get my first real look at her face as we reach the clearer air near the stairs, even with smudges of soot and what looks like a nasty bump on her forehead. She's beautiful. Dark lashes rest against pale cheeks, and full lips are parted slightly as she takes shallow breaths. Something protective and primitive stirs in my chest. An urge to shield her from harm so powerful it nearly stops me in my tracks. Shane, clear the path, I order, tightening my hold on the woman as we ascend the stairs. The fire is spreading rapidly now, and I can hear the ominous groaning off stressed wood above us. We burst out of the house just as a section of the roof collapses behind us. I move swiftly to where Danny has set up the medical station, reluctant to let go of my precious cargo, but knowing she needs immediate attention. What do we have? Danny asks, already pulling out his stethoscope as I gently lay her on the gurney. Conscious female, probably smoke inhalation. Found her with a wet clot over her face. So she was conscious enough to try protecting herself at some point, I report. Stepping back to let Danny work, but unable to tear my eyes away from her face as Danny checks her vital signs. She stirs, coughing weakly. Her eyes flutter open, revealing striking green eyes that lock onto mine for a moment before closing again. Pulse is strong. Breathing's a bit labored. But she's getting good to sats now, Danny reports. We should get her to the hospital for observation, but I think she'll be okay. I nod, relief flooding through me even as confusion swirls in my mind. In 20 years of firefighting, I've never had such an intense reaction to anyone ever rescued. There's something about this woman that calls to something deep inside me, some primal instinct to protect and possess, sir. A police officer approaches me. We talked with the neighbors. The victim's name is Stella Morrison, age 22. Lives alone and works as a children's book illustrator. Stella. The name suits her somehow. Fire appears to have started in the home office, Damon reports. Joningus, probably electrical, but we'll need to investigate to be sure. I nod absently, watching as the paramedics arrive and load Stella into the ambulance. I should be focusing on coordinating the cleanup. Making Survy fire is entirely out and starting the incident report. Instead, all I can think about are those green eyes and the way she felt in my arms. Chief. Damon's voice breaks through my thoughts. You okay? Yeah, I reply, forcing myself to look away from the ambulance as it pulls away. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's get this wrapped up. But as I turn to direct my team in their final tasks, I know I'm lying. I'm not fine at all. Something has changed in that burning house, and somehow, my life will never be quite the same. Stella Morrison has crawled under my skin in the span of a few minutes, and I have a feeling she isn't going to be easy to forget.
One first noticed the steady rhythmic beeping, incredibly annoying. My eyelids feel like they're made of lead, and my throat feels like I've swallowed broken glass. I try to swallow and immediately regret it, a painful cough racking my body. Slowly, I force my eyes open, blinking against the harsh fluorescent lights. A hospital room comes into focus. White walls, generic artwork, and the smell of antiseptic. What happened? The last thing I remember is working on my latest illustration deadline, and then the fire. The memory hits me like a truck. Smoke filling my office, the terrifying realization that I was trapped upstairs. Running to the bathroom towel to towel. After that, everything is a blur of heat and fear. Try to sit up, but my body protests with various aches I didn't even know were possible. A groan escapes my lips, and suddenly there's a movement to me right. Easy there, a deep voice rumbles, and I turn my head to find possibly the most gorgeous man I've ever seen, rising from a chair by my bed. He's tall, really tall, with broad shoulders that strain against a black t-shirt that does nothing to hide his muscular build. Dark hair with a touch of silver at the temples, a strong jaw covered in stubble, and the most intense blue eyes I've ever seen. He looks to be in his early 40s, and everything about him screams authority and strength. Water? I manage to croak out, and he immediately reaches for a cup with a straw on the bedside table. Small sips, he instructs, holding the straw to my lips. His hands are huge, but they move with surprising gentleness. You've been through quite an ordeal. If in my voice after a few blessed sips that soothe my raw throat. Who are you? A small smile tugs at one corner of his mouth, softening his otherwise a serious expression. Luke Harrison, Pine Valley Fire Chief. I was part of the team that got you out of your house yesterday. Yesterday? I glance at the window, noting the morning light streaming in. How long have I been here? Half a day, he answers, settling back into his chair. It looks comically small beneath his large frame. You've been in and out, mostly due to the mild sedative they gave you for the pain. Do you remember anything about what happened? I close my eyes, trying to piece together the fragments of memory. I was working on a deadline. I remember smelling smoke, and when I opened my office door, the hallway was already filling with it. I couldn't get downstairs, so I grabbed a wet towel from the bathroom and I shake my head. Everything after that is fuzzy. You did exactly the right thing with the wet towel, he says, and there's something like approval in his deep voice that makes my stomach flip. It probably saved your life. We found you in your bedroom, unconscious but breathing. A flash of memory, strong arms lifting me, feeling safe despite the chaos around me. You carried me out? He nods, and I swear I see a faint blush creep up his neck. Your house suffered significant damage, but the structure is salvageable. The fire started in your office. Looks like an electrical issue with your computer setup. My heart sinks. My work? All my illustrations? The fire damage was contained mostly to that room, but there was significant smoke and water damage throughout the upper floor, he explains gently. I'm sorry. Tears prick at my eyes as I think about all the lost work. But I force them back. I'm alive. That's what matters. Looking at him now, I notice more details about him in the morning light. Though his current expression is serious, there are tiny laugh lines around his eyes, a small scar near his right eyebrow. The way his black t-shirt pulls across his chest when he moves. He's not conventionally handsome like a movie star, but there's something magnetic about him, something that makes it hard to look away. Have you been here all night? I ask, suddenly realizing what his presence might mean. He runs a hand through his hair, looking almost sheepish. I wanted to make sure you were okay. It's part of the job. Somehow, I doubt the fire chief regularly holds vigils at victims' bedsides, but I don't call him out on it. Instead, I say, thank you, for saving my life and for staying. But where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do now? His blue eyes seem to darken with some internal struggle before he leans forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Listen, we have a spare room above the firehouse. It's nothing fancy, just a bed and a bathroom, but it's clean and safe. You could stay there for a few days while you figure things out. My heart skips a beat at his offer. I know I should probably decline, find a hotel, or, well, I'm not sure what else. I only moved to Pine Valley 3 weeks ago to get a fresh start, drawn by the cheap housing prices and quiet atmosphere that seem perfect for an illustrator who works from home. I haven't exactly had time to make friends yet, and my closest family is 3 states away. I wouldn't want to impose, I say weakly, even as my mind screams at me to accept. The thought of being near this mountain of a man, of having his protective presence close by, is far too appealing. It's no imposition, he says firmly. We've put up people there before in emergencies. Besides, and here his voice softens slightly, you shouldn't be alone right after something like this. Before I can respond, there's a knock at the door, and a doctor enters with a cart in hand. He's young and cheerful, starkly contrasting Luke's brooding presence. Ms. Morrison, good to see you awake. I'm Dr. Peters. He moves to check my vitals, glancing at the monitors. How's the throat feeling? Like I gargled with sandpaper, I admit honestly. He nods. That's to be expected after smoke inhalation, but your oxygen levels are good and your lungs are clear. The bump on your head is minor, no concussion. Honestly, you're incredibly lucky. And glance at Luke, who's watching the examination with intense focus. That help. Well, Dr. Peters says, making some notes on his chart, I don't see any reason to keep you here. You'll need to take it easy for a few days, drink plenty of fluids, and use this inhaler if you experience any breathing difficulties. He places a small blue inhaler on the bedside table. Any questions? I shake my head, then immediately regret the movement as my neck protests. I'll have a nurse bring your discharge papers, Dr. Peters says with a smile before leaving the room. Luke stands up, and I'm once again struck by just how big he is. So, about that room. Yes, I say quickly. Maybe too quickly based on the slight smirk that crosses his face. I mean, if you're sure it's not a problem, I'd really appreciate it. Let me help you up, he says, moving closer. His hands are warm and strong as they grasp my arms, steadying me as I swing my legs over the side of Thebed. The hospital gown gaps open slightly at the back, and I feel my cheeks flush. My clothes, they're pretty smoky. But I had one of my guys grab some basics from the station's emergency supplies. He gestures to a small duffel bag in the corner. It's probably all too big, but it'll do until we can get you some proper clothes. The thought of wearing his or his station's clothes sends an inappropriate thrill through me. Get it together, Stella. The man saved your life. He doesn't need you fantasizing about him. But as he helps me stand, one large hand settling at the small of my back when I sway slightly, I can't help but lean into his solid warmth. Maybe it's the trauma or the medication, but something about Luke Harrison makes me feel safe in a way I've never experienced before. "Thank you," I say softly, looking up at him. This close, I can see flecks of gray in his blue eyes, and the way his jaw clenches slightly as he looks down at me makes my breath catch. "Don't thank me yet," he says, his voice gruffer than before. "Wait until you see the station's cooking." I manage a small laugh, wincing at the way it scratches my throat. "As long as it's not on fire, I think I'll manage." A real smile breaks across his face then, transforming his features from merely handsome to devastating. "I'll give you some privacy to change. I'll be right outside if you need anything." As he steps out, I clutch the duffel bag to my chest, trying to calm the racing heart. This is crazy, accepting help from a stranger and moving into a firehouse of all places. But as I pull out an oversized Pine Valley Fire Department t-shirt that smells faintly of laundry detergent and something distinctly masculine, I can't bring myself to regret it. Besides, I tell myself as I carefully dress, it's just for a few days. What could possibly happen?
One pace outside Stella's hospital room, running a hand through my hair for what must be the 100th time. What the hell am I doing? Offering her a place to stay at the station. I must be losing my mind. But the thought of her alone in some impersonal room, still weak from smoke inhalation, ... the door opens, and my thoughts scatter. Stella emerges wearing our station's standard issue sweats and t-shirt. Both comically large on her curvy frame, something primitive stirs in my chest when I see her in clothes. Marked with PVD Pine Valley Fire Department. Mine. A possessive voice growls in my head before I can shut it down. "I'm swimming in these," she says with a small laugh. Rolling up the shirt sleeves, "They'll do for now," I respond, trying to keep my voice neutral. "We can stop at a store on the way to the station if you want." She shakes her head, then winces slightly. "Honestly, I just want to lie down somewhere that doesn't smell like a hospital." "Let's get you signed out then." I'll place my hand on her back again, telling myself it's just to steady her. The warmth of her seeps through the thin cotton, and I have to force myself task on the task at hand after dealing with the discharge, paperwork, and getting her prescriptions. We make our way to my truck in the parking lot. I help her climb into Thepasenger's seat, trying not to notice how she bites her lip in concentration, or the way the oversized clothes keep slipping off one shoulder. "This is quite the vehicle," she comments as I start the engine. "Compensating for something, Chief." I nearly choke, turning to find her eyes sparkling with mischief despite her obvious exhaustion. So she's got sass. "Interesting, it's Luke, you know," I say, pulling out of the parking lot. "And the truck helps with mountain rescue operations." "Ah, so you're not just about running into burning buildings? You climb mountains too?" "Among other things." "Pine Valley keeps us busy." She shifts in her seat to face me better. "Tell me about it." "I've only been here 3 weeks, and most of that time was spent setting up my home office." Her voice catches slightly at the mention of her lost workspace. "Well," I say, wanting to distract her from those thoughts, "we handle everything from fires to rescuing cats from trees. Small town means wearing multiple hats. The guys and I also run the fire safety program at the elementary school. Big, tough firefighters teaching tiny children. That must be adorable." One grunt, remembering last month's demonstration. One of my mates got tackled by a group of kindergartners who wanted tow tree on his helmet. It took us 10 minutes to extract him. Her laugh is adorable, even if it ends in a slight cough. And these are the men I'll be living with. We all have our own homes. But yes, we spend most of our time at the fire station and sometimes sleep there, I tell her. But don't worry. They're good men. The best, actually. Even if they can't cook, apparently. That's mainly Danny's fault. He tries to get creative in the kitchen. Last week, he attempted sushi. She raises an eyebrow. Attempted? Let's just say the local poison control center has us on speed dial. Another laugh, stronger this time. Well, I can cook. It's the least I can do to repay you all. You're a guest in our station. You won't have to do anything busy disreckoring. We finally get to the station, and I help her down from the truck. She sways lightly, and I keep my arm around her waist as we walk inside. The main bay is quiet. The team is out on a routine call. The living quarters are upstairs, I explain, guiding her toward the elevator. I'm not about to make her climb stairs in her condition. Your room is separate from the guy's bunk room, down a different hallway. You'll have privacy. The elevator doors close, and suddenly I'm acutely aware of how small space is and how close she is. She smells like hospital antiseptic, but tenderness that there's still that hint of vanilla. Luke. Her soft voice pulls me from my thoughts. Thank you, really. I don't know what I would have done. ... Hey. I turn to face her fully. You don't need to thank me. It's my job to help people. Is it your job to sit by their hospital bed all night, too? No, I admit. That was something else. The elevator dings before she can respond, and I lead her down the hallway to her temporary room. It's basic but clean. A double bed with fresh linens, asthma bathroom, and a mini fridge. Home sweet home, she says, looking around. At least until I figure out what I'll do about my house. The insurance adjuster will be around in 2 days. I can go with you if you want help assessing the damage. She turns to me, and something vulnerable in her green eyes makes my chest tight. Why are you being so nice to me? Because I haven't been able to get you out of my head since I carried Yao out of that fire. Because something about you calls to me in a way I didn't understand. Because the thought of you anywhere else makes me crazy. Instead, I say, because everyone needs help sometimes. Even stubborn illustrators who work too late. Not stubborn, she protests, then yawns widely. I'm sure you're not. Get some rest. There's a phone by the bed. Extension 1 reaches my office directly if you need anything. She nods, already looking dead on her feet. Will you? Will you check on Melitor? Yes, I answer, probably too quickly. I'll bring up some dinner. Real food, not Denise. Experiments, my hero, she mumbles. And I'm not sure if she means to say it out loud. One force myself to leave, closing the door behind me. Leaning against the wall, I take a deep breath. This is a terrible idea. I'm her rescuer. She's younger and vulnerable. And I'm taking advantage of that by keeping her close. But as I head back to my office, I can't bring myself to regret it. The image offer in my station's clothes. The way she feels against my side when I support her. The sass beneath her sweet exterior, it's all combining into something dangerous, addictive. A few days, I remind myself. She'll stay a few days, get back on her feet, Anthon go back to her life. That's all this is. So why does the thought of her leaving already feel like a punch in the gut?
I've just changed into fresh socks when there's a soft knock at my door. For a moment, my heart leaps thinking it might be Luke. But instead, a pretty redhead in her early 20s pokes her head in. Hi, I'm Sadie, the dispatch assistant, she adds with a bright smile. I thought you might like some company and actual clothes that fit. She holds up a shopping bag and I could almost cry with relief. You're an angel. Please come in. Sadie bounces into the room, her energy infectious. I grab some basics from the store down the street. Dad mentioned you're about my size. She starts pulling out items. Comfortable leggings, soft t-shirts, and essential toiletries. Your dad? I try to sound casual. Luke didn't mention having a daughter? He doesn't mention much of anything personal. She rolls her eyes fondly. But I've never seen him like this before. He spent the whole night at the hospital. Usually we can't even get him to take a lunch break. And feel my cheeks warm. He was just being thorough. Thorough? Sadie laughs. Dad hasn't shown this much interest in anyone since my mother left. Between you and me, it's about time he found someone to settle down with. Oh no, it's not like that. I start to protest, but we're interrupted by a commotion at the door. Is she awake? A voice whispers loudly. Shut up, Danny. You'll wake her. If she's not, you're being louder than he is, Max. 5 firefighters crowd into my doorway, all trying to look casual and failing miserably. Hi, I say, amused by their attempts at stealth. See? She's awake! The youngest one, Max, it seems, grins. How are you feeling? Like I inhaled a campfire, but otherwise okay. The chief was really worried, Damon, a tall guy with kind eyes, says. Never seen him hover like that before. Max elbows him. Yeah, spending the whole night at the hospital? That's a first. Are you sure you two hadn't met before? Another one asks, his eyebrows waggling suggestively. I literally just moved here. 3 weeks ago, I explain, trying to ignore the warmth spreading across my face. Last night was the first time I met any of you. A different one opens his mouth to say something else, but a sharp voice cuts through the chatter. Don't you all have jobs to do? The group parts like the Red Sea, revealing a stern-looking man. His arms are crossed over his chest, and his expression could freeze hell. Come on, Kane, Danny whines. We're just checking on her. The city doesn't protect itself, Kane says flatly. There's a 3-car pileup on Main Street that needs our attention. The mood shifts instantly. Despite their previous playfulness, all 5 men straighten up, their expressions becoming severe. They file out quickly, though not without a few friendly waves in my direction. I notice Sadie's eyes following Kane as he turns to leave, her cheeks slightly pink. Well, well, so, I say, once we're alone again. Kane seems intense. He's just dedicated to the job, Sadie defends quickly, then blushes harder when she realizes how eager she sounds. And you're dedicated to watching him, apparently. She groans, flopping onto my bed. Is it that obvious? Only to someone who just watched you practically drool when he walked in. It doesn't matter, she sighs. Kane's all about protocol and professionalism. He'd never look twice at the chief's daughter. Besides, she sits up, pointing a finger at me. We should be talking about you and my dad. There's nothing to talk about, I insist, but my voice sounds weak even to my own ears. Please. Dad was calling the hospital every hour for updates when he couldn't be there himself, and then he rushed to stay at your side. And now you're staying here instead of a hotel? He's not exactly subtle. I'm just a victim he rescued. Stella, Sadie interrupts, her expression serious. Dad's been alone for a long time. After Mom left when I was little, he threw himself into work. The only women he talks to are elderly Mrs. Peterson, who occasionally brings cookies to the station, and Mrs. Camilla, who cuts his hair twice a year. Sadie. I'm just saying if there's any chance. Don't let his grumpy exterior scare you away. He's a good man who deserves to be happy. Before I can respond, another knock at the door reveals Luke himself, carrying a tray of food. His eyes narrow slightly at the sight of his daughter on my bed. Sadie, don't you have dispatch duties? Just helping Stella get settled, Dad, she says innocently, standing up. As she passes him, she mouths, "Go for it," at me behind his back. Left alone with Luke, I'm suddenly very aware that I'm sitting on a bed, and he's looking at me with those intense blue eyes that seem to see right through me. I brought soup, he says gruffly. Easy on the throat. As he sets the tray down, I catch, myself admiring how his uniform shirt stretches across his broad shoulders. Sadie's words echo in my mind. Hedda deserves to be happy. But am I really the one that can make him happy? And more importantly, should I even be thinking about this when my life is literally in ashes? Yet, as he fusses with arranging the tray, just right. Checking if I need anything else, I can't help but wonder what it would be like to break through that gruff exterior and find out what lies beneath. Would you like to join me? I ask, gesturing to the chair near the bed. I mean, unless you have chief duties to attend to. He seems to debate internally before settling into the chair. It creaks under his weight. I should probably make sure you can actually eat without choking. My hero, I tease, remembering saying something similar earlier. Always saving me from potential hazards. A small smile tugs at his lips. It's my job. Is it your job to personally deliver soup too? I blow on a spoonful, delighted to find it's actually quite good. This is delicious. Please tell me Danny didn't make this. No, this is my recipe. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture I'm starting to recognize as a nervous habit. My mom's actually. She always made it when we were sick. A firefighter who can cook. Be careful, or all the single ladies in Pine Valley will be starting fires to get your attention. His face darkens slightly. That's actually happened before. Mrs. Wilson from Cedar Street used to burn toast every Sunday morning deliberately. In-early choke on my soup, laughing. You're kidding! Wish I was. Had to have a very uncomfortable conversation with her daughter about it. Well, I promise my fire was completely accidental, I say, then immediately regret bringing it up as memories of last night flash through my mind. The smoke, the fear, the feeling of being trapped. Hey. Luke's voice is gentle as he leans forward, his large hand covering mine. You're safe now. The warmth of his touch anchors me to the present. I know, thanks to you. His thumb absently strokes the back of my hand, sending shivers up my arm. Stella. He starts, then seems to catch himself, pulling his hand back. It should let you rest. Luke. I catch his wrist before he can stand. Stay, just for a little while. I don't want to be alone right now. He settles into the edge of the bed, his expression softening. Okay, but you should try to eat more. Obediently take another spoonful of soup. Tell me something about yourself, something that isn't about being a firefighter. He's quiet for a moment, considering. I restore old motorcycles in my spare time. Have a whole garage full of them at home. Really? I wouldn't have taken you for a gearhead. No? His eyebrow raises. What would you have taken me for? I don't know. Chopping wood shirtless in the forest, maybe? Rescuing wildlife? Something appropriately rugged and heroic. A deep chuckle rumbles from his chest. Sorry to disappoint. Oh, I'm not disappointed at all, I say before I can stop myself, then feel heat rush to my cheeks.
I know I should leave. Every rational part of my brain is screaming at me, tog it up and walk out that door. Instead, I'm sitting here on the edge of her bed, watching her eat soup, completely mesmerized by how her lips curve around the spoon. The soft evening light filtering through the window makes her skin glow. And somehow, even in oversized station clothes with her hair mussed from sleep, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. God damn it. I've run into burning buildings thousands of times. I know what teat feels like when the heat hits you, when your body temperature rises with adrenaline. But this is different. This heat starts deep in my chest and spreads through my entire body whenever she looks at me with those green eyes. Since you asked about me, I hear myself say, desperate to distract myself from these dangerous thoughts. Tell me something about you. Anything? She sets down the soup bowl. And something vulnerable crosses her face. Something about me? She bites her lower lip, considering. How about something I've never told anyone else? My heart rate kicks up a notch. I'm listening. Everyone always asks why I became an illustrator, she starts, fidgeting with hem of her borrowed shirt. I tell them I love to draw, which is true, but it's not the whole truth. One, stay quiet, sensing she needs space to continue. I was bullied pretty badly growing up, she says softly. For being curvy, for not fitting into their idea of what a girl should look like. By high school, I just wanted a career where I wouldn't have to deal with people face dash to dash face dot, where I could ... hide. Something protective and angry rises in my chest. Why are you telling Methus? She looks up at me, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I don't know. Maybe nearly dying makes you want to pour everything out. Maybe ... double quotes. She pauses. Maybe I feel safe with you. You are safe, I say firmly, fighting the urge to pull her into my arms. And for what it's worth, those people were idiots. You're gorgeous, Stella. You should be out there living life, not hiding from it. Trust me, the real world differs greatly from high school and college. A small, sad smile crosses her face. Oh, adults can't be bullies? They can be, I admit, but now you've got me, and I'll personally kick the ass off anyone who insults you. That draws a genuine laugh from her. Even if they're women? Asterisk, asterisk 1, throw my hands up in mock surrender. Now you're just trying to get me in trouble. I can't win here, we both laugh, and the sound of her happiness does something to my chest that I try not to examine too closely. You know what? I find myself saying, I usually don't tell people this. Right. But Juan. I first started as a firefighter. I was absolutely terrified. Her eyes widened. You, but you're so ... confident. I snort. Now maybe. But back then, I was shitting bricks every time the alarm went off. My dad and grandfather were both decorated Pine Valley Fire. The pressure to live up to that legacy was crushing. I couldn't tell Anini how scared I was of failing, well, she says softly, reaching out to touch my hand. From where I'm sitting, You've more than lived up to any legacy. You're an incredible thrift, Luke. How would you know? You were unconscious for most of my heroics. True, but I've heard your team talking about you. They respect you. That doesn't come from just a name or a title. That comes from being a good leader. Her mention of my team makes me smile. You've met them already? They stopped by earlier to check on me, she says with a soft laugh. They seem very ... enthusiastic. Damn it. The whole station knows I spent the night at the hospital. They'll either demand answers, or worse, never let me hear the end of it. I can already hear Max's teasing comments and see Damon's knowing looks. They all seem really nice, Stella continues, though one of them was a bit ... cold. Kane, I say immediately. He can come across that way, but there's a reason for it. Military service changed him and made him more reserved. But he's one of the best men I know. Would walk through fire for any of us. Literally has, actually. She nods thoughtfully. I don't doubt it. There's a pause before she asks, what do your father and grandfather think of you now? As chief? I clasp my hands behind my head, leaning back slightly. The question hit somewhere tender, somewhere I usually keep locked away. They're both gone, actually. Oh, Luke, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. It's fine, I interrupt gently. Why am I even talking about this? She's practically a stranger. Someone he pulled from a fire less than 24 hours ago. She should be resting, note-playing therapist to my emotional baggage. Yet something about her maxim? Want to keep talking, sharing, and getting closer. I hope they at least pass peacefully, she says softly. I shake my head. Grandpa died in a fire. Dad made it to 70, but his body just gave out. This job ages you faster than most. Takes its toll. Doesn't that worry you? Taking a deep breath, I consider my answer. It used to, but I've made peace with it. This life comes with certain perks and certain ... disadvantages, the aches. The risks, they're part of the package. Besides, I add with a shrug, I'm not in the field as much these days. Too much paperwork keeping me chained to my desk. You don't sound thrilled about that, she teases. One force a smile. But it probably comes out more like a grimace. I'm a man of action, sitting behind a desk, while my team risks their lives. It's the hardest part of being chief. Well, she says, her voice suddenly soft and intimate. I guess it's lucky we get to meet when we did then. Look at her, really look at her. Her eyes are gentle, her lips slightly parted, and something in my chest tightens, almost painfully. Maybe it was luck, I hear myself say. Maybe it was fate. Her cheeks flush pink, and I suddenly realize how close we've gotten, how easy it would be to lean forward and stand up abruptly. I should go check on the kitchen. Make sure Danny hasn't started another Zimmel fire trying to make dinner. She looks startled by my sudden movement, but only nods. Of course, at the door, I pause, looking back at her. She's sitting cross-legged on the bed, my station's shirt slipping off one shoulder. Looking like she belongs here, like she's always belonged here. I force myself to turn away and walk out, closing the door behind me. Leaning against it, I take a deep breath. What the hell am I doing? She's vulnerable, recovering from trauma, and I'm developing feelings. Taking advantage of her gratitude? But as I head downstairs, I can't shake the feeling that something significant just happened in that room. Something that might change everything despite my best efforts to maintain emotional distance. The smell of burning hits my nose, followed by Danny's distinctive yelp-off surprise. At least some things never change. I push open the kitchen door after a quick knock. Danny, everything okay in here? The scene that greets me is pure chaos. Danny wielding a fork over his smoking pan while flames leap up around what appear to be expensive cuts of meat. Chief, come in, Danny grins, utterly unfazed by the minor inferno is creating. It might look like a disaster, but trust me, this meat is top-notch. Bought it special since we have a guest upstairs. One shake my head watching him battle with the pan. Looks more like you were about to burn down the whole station. A firefighter can't be afraid of a little fire, Danny waves dismissively. When this is done, you'll all be thanking me. It'll be worth it. It better be worth it. Ashton's voice booms as he rises from one of our circular dining tables. If you ruin this meat, I'm punching you in the arm. That shit was expensive as hell, and I paid for it. First of all, Danny points the fork at him. You owed me for being your wingman for a whole week at that goddamn biker bar. I earned this meat with me excellent backup skills. Damon chuckles from his spot at the table. You guys don't get it. The single life seems great until you meet the one. After that, he shakes his head. Nothing else matters. Damn straight, Shane adds, looking dreamy. Loving someone feels better than saving the whole world. Max lets out an exaggerated groan. You guys are so lame when you're in love. Turns to Kane, who's lurking in the corner. Back me up here, man? Kane responds with a non-committal, which makes everyone laugh. Just wait, Damon grins. You'll eat those words when you meet the right girl. Yeah, right, Max snorts. Like I'm going to find a bombshell blonde with thinless curves, green eyes, and a sassy mouth in this small town. Danny keeps working the pan, which is finally starting to smoke less. Hey, you never know. I mean, look at the chief found his love in the middle off. A house fire. I clear my throat loudly, caught completely off guard. That's enough, I say firmly. I'm just being nice to Stella. Once she's back on her feet, that's it. End of story. I fix them all with my best chief glare. Danny, focus on not burning down our kitchen. I'm going to ask Sadie to help Stella down for dinner. I turn and leave before they can say anything else, but I hear their muffled laughter behind me. I could go up and help Stella, myself should go up. Really, it's my responsibility, but right now I need distance. Being near her is like standing too close to a fire, intoxicating and dangerous. The way she looks at me with those green eyes. How her full lips part when she talks. The soft curves of her body and my station's clothes, ... No. I need to stop this train of thought. Right now, professional distance is the only way forward. Anything else would be taking advantage of her vulnerable state. But as I head to find Sadie, I can't help but wonder how long I can keep pretending that Stella Morrison isn't affecting me in ways no woman ever has before.
I stare at the ceiling, my mind replaying every interaction with Luke. How is it possible to feel so connected to someone I just met? Yet here I am, unable to stop thinking about his broad shoulders, the way his beard frames his strong jaw, and how his massive hands dwarf mine. Those deep blue eyes that seem to see right through me. I huff in frustration, gripping the sheets tightly. This is ridiculous. A knock interrupts my spiraling thoughts. Stella, can I come in? Come in, Sadie, I call out, recognizing her voice. Is everything okay? Sadie pokes her head in, her red hair catching the evening light. Everything's fine. Dad asked me to help you down to the kitchen for dinner. I force a smile, trying to ignore the twinge of disappointment that Luke didn't come himself. Apparently, I'm not as successful at hiding it as I think. Don't overthink it, Sadie says, sitting on the edge of my bed. Dad can be an idiot sometimes. He needs time to process his emotions, probably still stuck in the must-maintain professional distance phase. Maybe you're just hoping your dad likes someone, I say softly. But I might not be that person. A mischievous grin spreads across Sadie's face. Want to bet on it? You can ask anything of me if I'm wrong. Raise an eyebrow, an idea forming. Anything? Okay, if you're wrong about your dad having feelings for me, you have to ask Kane out on a date. Her eyes light up with terror and excitement. And I can't tell if this challenge is encouraging or terrifying her. Deal. The Firefighters. Ball is next week. Most of the town will be there. They're hoping for some big donations this year. She takes a deep breath. I was already thinking about asking Kane to dance, but if Dad doesn't like you, I'll ask Kane to be my date instead. The Firefighters Ball? It's this huge annual event. Everyone dresses up. There's dancing and silent auctions. It's actually pretty magical. She holds out her hand. So do we have a deal? I shake her hand, grinning. Deal. Sadie helps me out of bed, and I'm grateful for her support as we make our way to the stairs. Even halfway down, we can hear the loud voices and laughter coming from the kitchen. Is this normal? I ask, gesturing toward the noise. Sadie laughs. Oh yeah, they might be all serious and professional when they're saving lives, but the rest of the time, they're just big kids playing heroes. Dinner is always chaos. Pause on the stairs, suddenly nervous. My body still aches and I'm exhausted. What if I bring down everyone's mood? But then I think about Luke possibly being in that kitchen, and I know I must go. This might be my last chance to see him. I'll probably leave the station tomorrow or the day after, and who knows what happens after that. My life is a complete mess right now, and my future is uncertain, but one thing I do know, I want Luke to be part of it, whatever it turns out to be. Ready? Sadie asks as we reach the kitchen door. I nod, and she knocks. Knock it off, everyone. Max's voice booms from inside. The ladies are here. The door swings open to reveal organized chaos. Danny's at the stove, wielding what looks like several cooking utensils at once. Ashton and Max are setting the table while arguing about the proper way to fold napkins. Damon's trying to rescue what appears to be burning garlic bread from the oven. Shane's mixing something in a bowl that's definitely splashing over the sides. And in the corner, Kane stands with his arms crossed, looking both annoyed and amused. But my eyes immediately find Luke standing near the counter with a beer in his hand. And when our eyes meet, I swear the room temperature rises several degrees. Welcome to the madhouse, Sadie whispers in my ear. Just wait until they break out the embarrassing stories. Should I be scared? I whisper back, terrified. But don't worry, I'll protect you from the worst of it. She pauses, then grins, though I'm pretty sure Dad would do that job if you asked him to. I watch as Luke sets down his beer and moves toward us, his expression unreadable. My heart starts racing, and I'm suddenly very aware that I forgot to change clothes. And I'm still in his station's clothes, probably looking like a mess. But when he reaches us, his eyes soften slightly. Feeling up to joining this circus for dinner? Wouldn't miss it, I say, proud that my voice doesn't shake. Though I can't promise I'll be very entertaining company. Trust me, he says, his voice dropping lower. You're already the most interesting person in this room. His words hang in the air. And suddenly, it feels like everyone in the kitchen is watching us. The moment is broken by Sadie clearing her throat behind me. What about me, Dad? Am I not interesting too? Luke's composure finally cracks. He starts fidgeting with his hands, mouth opening and closing as he tries to find the right words. Of course, you and Stella are the two most interesting people in the room. Bite back a smile, enjoying seeing the usually confident Chief so flustered. Sadie is clearly enjoying teasing her father, though she seems oblivious to how Kane keeps stealing glances at her from across the room. The stoic firefighter might maintain his cold exterior, but his eyes betray him whenever they land on Sadie. He doesn't strike me as someone who makes the first move, though. Maybe the ball really will be Sadie's chance, assuming I'm not proven right about Luke's feelings. All right, everyone. Danny claps his hands. Dinner is served, and I've outdone myself this time. Ashton rolls his eyes dramatically. We'll be happy if you didn't burn the meat. Please, Danny scoffs, brushing invisible dust off his shoulders. Even you'll be impressed with this masterpiece. Had to do my best for our guest. He winks at me. Thank you, I say, but the words trigger a small coughing fit. Luke's hand is immediately on my arm, steady and warm. Are you sure you're up for this? He asks, concern evident in his voice. I nod, trying to catch my breath. I'm fine, just a bit weak. But I'm sure once I taste this amazing meal, I'll feel better than ever. Danny beams while Max starts herding everyone toward the tables. Come on, people, let's eat. Shane brings over what looks like fresh orange juice while Damon places slightly charred garlic bread on the table. Sorry about this, he says sheepishly. Was on the phone with my girl and got distracted. Luke shakes his head beside me. I hope you don't think all Pine Valley's firefighters are this unprofessional. They proved themselves when they saved my life. I respond softly. That's what matters, Damon flexes exaggeratedly. We're pretty incredible. Everyone laughs except Kane, while Luke offers a small smile. Sadie masterfully maneuvers everyone around the table, ensuring Luke and I end up side by side while she claims the seat on Luke's other side, conveniently next to Kane. I have to admire her strategy. Danny brings out the main course with a flourish. The meat looks like it might have seen better days, but the smell is absolutely incredible. Even Ashton looks impressed, clapping Danny on the shoulder. You actually did it, you madman. Finally proved yourself useful. Danny rolls his eyes. Maybe you should trust your wingman more often. After all, I'm the reason you left the biker bar with that redhead the other night. That's enough, Luke cuts in, his voice firm but not angry. I don't want that type of talk at the dinner table. Sorry, Chief, Danny says, not looking sorry at all. As everyone starts passing dishes around, I'm struck by how familiar this feels. Despite having just met these men, there's something comfortable about sitting here, surrounded by their banter and camaraderie. Even Kane's stoic presence adds to the atmosphere, like the straight man in a comedy routine. "So, Stella," Max says, drawing all the attention to him. "What exactly do you illustrate?" "Children's books mainly," I reply, grateful for the distraction. "I was actually working on a series about firefighting animals when..." I trail off, remembering my lost work. "That sounds amazing," Sadie jumps in. "Maybe you could use these guys as inspiration for your next project. Though I'm not sure which animals would suit them." "Oh, that's easy," Shane grins. "Chief's definitely a grizzly bear." "Hey now," Luke protests, but he's smiling. No. The Chief is definitely a grizzly," Shane insists. "Big, protective, and grumpy most of the time." "I'm not grumpy," Luke grumbles beside me, proving Shane's point and making everyone laugh. I have to bite my lip to keep from giggling. "Ooh, what about me?" Danny asks, practically bouncing in his seat. Before I can stop myself, I'm speaking. "A golden retriever." When everyone turns to look at me, I shrug. "What?" Enthusiastic, eager to please, occasionally destructive but with the best intentions. "She's got you," Ashton howls with laughter. "Remember when you tried to help that kid get his kite from the tree and ended up needing rescue yourself?" Danny points his fork accusingly. "We agreed never to speak of that again." "What about Kane?" Sadie asks, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. I hide my smile behind my water glass, noting how Kane's posture straightens slightly at Sadie's voice. "Wolf," Max says immediately. "Falcon?" Damon counters. "Definitely a wolf," I chime in. Lone wolf type, but secretly protective of his pack. Kane's expression doesn't change, but I notice a slight softening around his eyes, making me think I might have hit closer to home than expected. "Damon's a horse," Max declares. "Reliable, hardworking, whinnies when he sees his girlfriend," Ashton interrupts, making everyone snort. "I do not whinny." Damon protests. "You kind of do, man," Shane says sympathetically. "It's this high-pitched thing you do. Moving on," Damon cuts in. "Ashton's clearly a monkey. Always climbing things he shouldn't, making mischief." "I take offense to that," Ashton says, then pauses. "Actually, no, that's pretty accurate." "Max is a bulldog," Luke adds unexpectedly, his deep voice sending shivers down my spine. "Stubborn as hell, but loyal to a fault." "What about me?" Sadie asks, looking at her father. "Hummingbird," Luke says softly, and the tenderness in his voice makes my heart ache. "Always moving, bringing life wherever you go." There's a moment of tender silence before Danny breaks it. "Shane's definitely a penguin." "A penguin?" Shane looks offended. "How am I a penguin?" "You waddle when you're tired," Danny shrugs. "Plus, you're always formally dressed even off duty." "I do not waddle." "You absolutely waddle," Kane speaks up for the first time, making everyone freeze in surprise before bursting into laughter. "What about Stella?" Sadie asks, and I can hear the mischief in her voice. I feel Luke's eyes on me, and my heart starts racing. "A fox," he says finally, his voice low. "Smart, adaptable, and He stops himself, and I swear I can see a blush creeping up his neck. "And?" Max prompts, smirking. "And good at surviving against the odds." Luke finishes, but we all know that wasn't what he was initially going to say. "Plus, they're known for their beauty," Sadie teases, making Luke choke on his drink while I feel my face heat up. "Sadie!" Luke warns, but his daughter just grins unrepentantly. "What?" "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking." "I think that's enough animal assignments for one night," Luke says firmly, though I notice his ears are still red. "Oh, come on, Chief," Danny whines. "We haven't even gotten to comparing Kane to a brooding lion yet." Kane's deadpan "try it" sends everyone into another round of laughter, and the conversation shifts to other topics. I can't help stealing glances at Luke throughout the meal, thinking about foxes and grizzly bears and how well they might get along if given the chance. And every time I catch him looking at me, too, and I wonder if he's thinking the same thing.
Max and Ashton cleared the table, while Damon and Shane are already at the sink, their usual bickering about proper washing techniques starting up. But me attention keeps drifting to the other end of the table, where my daughter is attempting to engage Kane in conversation. Damn it, It hurts watching this, knowing Sadie's been carrying a torch fur cane for years. My second in command, one of my best friends, and completely unavailable emotionally. I should talk to her about it, help her move on, but how? I've never been good at these conversations, not since her mother walked out without even leaving a note. I've tried my best as a single dad, but some talks are more complex than others. There was a time I thought Kane might have feelings for her too, but that hope died quickly when I overheard him telling Max he wouldn't consider relationships until he was done being a firefighter witch. Knowing Kane means never my eyes drift to Stella, and my chest tightens. She's playing with her hair absently, looking somehow both out of place and perfectly at home in our chaos. She handled dinner beautifully, matching wits with my men. Mac and Gevrion laugh, fitting into our dysfunctional family like she was meant to be here. Point. I want to keep her here. But that means actually talking to her and telling her how I feel, even though we just met. How do you tell someone they've completely upended your world in less than 24 hours? Dad. Earth to Chief Harrison. I start as Sadie nudges my ribs with her shoulder. Sorry, just thinking about the ball next week, I say. Well, stop thinking and start acting, she says pointedly. Stella's tired. Ush'll be a gentleman and help her upstairs. Look at Stella. Her eyes are heavy-lidded, her face a bit paler than before. Butch is still wearing that gentle smile that makes my heart race. I'm fine, she protests weakly. You don't need to get up. I'm sure you have things to take care of. I'm on my feet before she finishes speaking. I'll help you up. You're still recovering? She smiles and moves toward the door, pausing there like she's waiting for me to follow. My legs feel frozen, my heart hammering in my chest. You still need a date for the ball, Sadie whispers behind me. Sees Themant, Dad. Even Kane nods in Stella's direction, a silent endorsement that speaks illumes. I look around the kitchen. All my men have stopped while they are doing, watching me with expressions ranging from amusement to exasperation at my hesitation. God damn it. I'm a firefighter. I run into burning buildings for a living. I protect people, save lives, and face danger head on. And right now, I want Stella more than I've wanted anything in years. More than that. I need her smile, her sass, her softness. I need the way she makes me feel alive again. My feet finally start moving. Each step toward her feels momentous, like I'm walking toward something bigger than myself. She's waiting in the doorway, backlit by the hallway lights. It's looking like everything I never knew I wanted. I'm done fighting this. I'm done pretending I'm not affected by her. Done maintaining professional distance. She might have been a victim I rescued yesterday, but now she's something else entirely. Something more. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make her mine. I catch up to Stella in a few long strides. How are you really feeling? Better, she says, offering a tired smile. The meat was actually incredible, but I'm suddenly exhausted. That's normal, I tell her gently. Your body's still in shock, and it can take a mental toll too. Nearly dying in a fire isn't something you just shake off. She turns those green eyes on me. I imagine running into burning buildings thousands of times isn't easy to shake off either. One can't help but smile. Got over that a long time ago. It's just part of who I am, owned what I was born to do. I'm still looking for that thing I was born to do. She shyly confesses. The scent of vanilla catches my attention again. Isn't illustration that thing? She takes a deep breath, rubbing her cheeks in a gesture I'm starting to recognize as a nervous habit. I thought so, and I do love it, but lately, she pauses. I've been having doubts. How so? I arch an eyebrow, genuinely curious. My parents are both lawyers, she explains as we reach the stairs. They always wanted me to follow in their footsteps, but I hated the idea off bung. So, exposed, standing in front of people, potentially having to defend criminals, I thought they'd accepted my choice to study illustration recently. They started pushing me to go back to school and get a law degree. They even offered to pay for it. One placed my hand on her waist to steady her as we climb, trying to ignore how right it feels to touch her. But it feels like they just want a trophy daughter to show off to their lawyer friends. Like what I want doesn't matter. I can't say much about having other dreams, I admit. I practically grew up in this station. Being a firefighter is all I've ever wanted. But you can't live a war life for other people, Stella. Your happiness is what matters. Are you happy? She considers this for a moment. I am, but sometimes I think maybe Idra be illustrating romance novel covers instead of children's books. That's something only you can decide, I tell her. But whatever you choose, I'll support you however I can. She turns to smile at me, and God, she's beautiful. The soft lighting in the hallway makes her skin glow, and her eyes sparkle. And I'm so caught up in staring at her that I nearly miss that we've reached her door. Thank you, she says quietly, for everything. Something in her voice, in the way she's looking at me, makes my heart race. We're standing close, too close, but not nearly close enough for what I want. The urge to kiss her is almost overwhelming. Stella. I start, my voice rougher than intended, but I have no idea how to finish that sentence. How do I tell her that she's completely transformed my world in less than a day? That I can't stop thinking about her? That I want to protect her and possess her in equal measure? She's looking up at me expectantly, her lips slightly parted. And I swear the temperature in the hallway rises several degrees. My hand is still on her waist. I can feel her pulse racing under my fingers. All it would take is one step forward. One moment of bravery, different from kind I use every day as a firefighter. One chance to show her exactly what she's doing to me, but am I ready to take that risk? And more importantly, is she? One don't have enough words to tell her what I'm feeling, but when she gently opens the door and asks, "What is it, Luke?" I know it's now or never. I step forward, but she surprises me before I can form the words. "Do you want to come in? We can continue talking inside." I nod, though talking is the last thing on my mind right now. All I can think about is kissing her, claiming her, making her mine. I want to hear her say she belongs to me, that she's not going anywhere. The room feels smaller, with both of us in it. She sits on the bed, and I join her, feeling like a nervous teenager again. I haven't felt this way in over 20 years, and it's both terrifying and exhilarating. "You said my name earlier," she prompts softly, but didn't finish. I stumble over my words. "You're so much younger than me, Stella." "I know that," she says, a hint of frustration in her voice. "Why are you bringing that up now?" "Just, our life experiences are so different. We probably wouldn't have much to talk about beyond." She huffs and falls backward onto the bed. Arms stretched above her head, her breasts move with the motion, and I have to force myself to look away. "Or are you just scared of whatever this is between us?" I swallow hard. "I wasn't expecting you to be so direct." "Well, one of us has to be," she says, still staring at the ceiling. "Otherwise, we'll stay in this weird limbo forever. Besides," she adds, "Sadie seems convinced you feel something for me, so I'm taking a chance." I can't help but smile at the mention of my daughter. Sadie's a good kid. Very perceptive, just not about herself. "You mean about Kane?" She turns her head to look at me. "You might be surprised. I'm pretty sure he's not as uninterested as he acts." My eyes widen. "Are you sure?" "I always thought he had no interest in Detinganyoni, and say that a lot until they meet the right person," she says knowingly. "And looks at Sadie way too often to be uninterested." I never noticed, I admit. "I wouldn't mind it, though." "Yes, she's younger, but Kane's a good man. He'd treat her right." I sigh. "But Kane's too in his head. Who want? Give anyone a chance until he accepts that he deserves happiness." Stella's hand finds my arm. "What about you? Are you ready to accept the penis?" Look at her. She's spread across the bed like an offering, her lips glossy, her neck exposed. It's torture, pure and simple. I can't take it anymore. Instead of answering, I clench my fist and lean forward, closing my eyes and running my tongue across my chapped lips before pressing them against her soft ones. The moment our lips meet, everything else fades away. All my doubts, all my protests about age differences and life experiences. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is Stella, her taste, her feeling, her small gasp against My mouth point one realized this is what I was born to. Do not just be a firefighter, but be here. With her claiming what's mine, and God help anyone who tries to take her away from me.
One can hardly believe this is happening. Luke's lips are pressed against mine, his tongue teasing my mouth open as he kisses me deeply. Part of me wonders if this is just a heat-of-the-moment thing, so I must savor every second before it ends. But when we finally break apart, gasping for air, the raw lust in Luke's eyes tells me he's nowhere near satisfied. He doesn't need to say a word for me to know he wants more of me, all of me. And I'm utterly willing to give myself over to this man who saved me in more ways than one. I'm sorry, he rasps, though his gaze shamelessly goes over my body. I can't control myself around you. You're too damn tempting. Give him a smile I can't contain, my lips quirking upward. Believe me, the feeling is mutual. I've been feeling this. This chemistry, this will we won't we tension. And now that we've crossed that line, I don't want to stop. His eyes widen, darkening with unleashed desire as his chest heaves. Leaning in closer again, his voice is low and rough. Are you sure you don't want to stop with just a kiss? I swallow hard, my body throbbing with need and longing. I'm not wasting this moment. Lying back on the bed, I give him a meaningful look as I part my thighs invitingly. Use my body how you desire, Chief. I'm all yours. Luke gulps audibly as he takes in the sight of me, eyes raking over every curve. Then, without preamble, he strips off his shirt and tosses it aside, revealing a body that's pure masculine perfection. Chiseled muscle, a defined six-pack, sheer masculine power contained in human form. When he climbs onto the bed beside me, I drink in the sight without a hint of shame. I wish we could be doing this anywhere but my station, he rumbles. Don't worry about the location, I tell him breathlessly. It doesn't matter, as long as you're gentle. I've never done this before. Luke freezes, brow furrowing. You're a virgin? I nod shyly, trying to hide my face in the sheets even as arousal dampens my panties. I hope that doesn't stop you. His eyes blaze as he grips my chin firmly, forcing me to meet his intense stare. It doesn't change a damn thing, except I'll be your first and your last. I'll make sure you're always satisfied, princess. Unable to contain my smile, I shudder at the raw promise in his voice. Then he's tugging my shirt up without preamble, exposing my bare breasts. I'm not wearing a bra, and now every lush curve is on display for his hungry gaze. Luke groans deep in his chest as he palms my tits, rolling the stiff peaks between his fingers. So fucking perfect. When he leans down and captures one rosy bud between his lips, flicking it with his tongue, I arch off the bed with a desperate whine. One of my hands flies into his hair, holding him to my chest as pleasure sparks through my body. He growls in approval, nipping at my tender flesh as I grip the sheets with my other hand. For a split second, I wonder if the others can hear us from the kitchen downstairs. Should I try to stifle my moans or just let it all out? Because right now, I want to be loud and unrestrained. I want Luke to know exactly how good he's making me feel as arousal pools between my thighs. He kisses a searing path down my body, and I watch him with rapt eyes. The lust blazing in his gaze, the way his full lips trail over my skin like they were meant to worship every inch of me. Meeting him was fate. Pure chance or something else entirely. I don't know or care at this point. All that matters is Luke slowly stripping me bare. When he tugs my pants down over my hips, I lift my ass eagerly to help. He presses hot, open-mouthed kisses along my inner thighs, each one bringing his talented mouth closer to the aching center of my desire. I've never bared this part of myself to anyone before, but I'll put everything on display without hesitation for Luke. You're sure about this? He rumbles, lips skimming along my thigh. We can stop whenever you want. Shake my head fervently, desire fogging my brain. Don't stop. Undress me, use me how you want. Luke flashes me a wicked grin that makes my pussy clench. I plan to, princess. But you're still recovering, so I'll go easy on you. He leans in closer, voice dropping even lower. We'll have plenty of time for repeats. His words unleash something feral inside me. I buck my hips up, reaching down to shove my panties aside, fully exposing my wet pussy. Luke groans deep in his chest at the sight, hands shooting out to help strip me completely bare until I'm naked and ready before him. So fucking beautiful, he murmurs, drinking in the sight like a man dying of thirst. Then his mouth is on me, tongue lashing over my aching clit as he buries his face in my slick pussy. I cry out at the mind-numbing sensation, back arching as I fist the sheets beneath me. One of my hands dives into Luke's hair again, holding him to my dripping core as I grind shamelessly against that talented mouth. Don't stop, don't stop. I keen, throwing my head back as wave after wave of electric. Pleasure radiates from where his tongue is, swirling and lapping at my swollen clit. A single tear of pure bliss escapes the corner of my eye as he feasts on me with unrestrained hunger. Lose all control over my body as Chief Luke explores me with his mouth. I'm just a moaning, squirming mess, gripping the sheets tightly while my back arches off the bed. I can't do anything except feel the crazy pleasure he's giving me. Finally, Luke pulls back, and I see strings of my wetness dripping from his beard. You look so beautiful like this, I tell him as he wipes his face with his hand. He laughs in a rough, sexy way that makes me shiver. Then he hops off Thebed and removes his belt and pants. They drop to the floor with a loud thump. I stare at the big bulge in his underwear, feeling nervous. Is he going to be too big to fit inside me? Take it all off, I say, trying to sound brave. If I'm naked, you should be too. Fair point, Luke replies. He pulls off his underwear, and his huge cock springs out. I gasp loudly when I see how thick and long it is. Luke crawls back onto the bed, never looking away from me as he strokes his impressive cock. I can't take my eyes off it, feeling worried but also turned on. Then he's on top of me, cupping my cheek tenderly with one hand while guiding his cock to my entrance with the other. As he pushes inside, I whimper at the strange stretching feeling. He goes slowly, letting me get used to it. But I don't want him to stop. I want every inch inside me. Keep going, I beg, pulling him closer by wrapping my arms around his neck. I can take it. Luke groans and kisses me hard while rocking his hips to sink deeper into me, inch by incredible inch. The stretch is so intense, but feels shockingly good too. He starts thrusting faster, burying himself fully. Fuck, you feel perfect, he mumbles against my lips. So tight around my cock? I cry out, throwing my head back as he fills me up completely. Yes. I love how you're stretching me. One don't even care about being loud now. All I can focus on is Luke on top of me, his muscular body holding me down as he thrusts over and over into my aching pussy. It feels primal and overwhelming in the best way. This is still the same Luke who saved me and stayed by my side in the hospital. But now I'm seeing his wild, animalistic side that he couldn't contain anymore. He's slamming into me harder and faster, and I can feel everything. His big hands gripping my hips before sliding down to grab my ass and tilt my hips for a slightly different angle. And oh my god, this new angle is pure perfection. With every thrust, his thick cock rubs against that aching sweet spot deep inside me. I'm teetering right in the edge, unable to hold on much longer. My vision is blurred. All I can see is Luke's face through my half-lidded eyes. I've made myself come before, but this pleasure is unlike anything else. Sharper, more overwhelming than anything I've ever felt. I'm so close. I cry out desperately, gripping the sheets as sweat beads roll down my bouncing breasts. Oh god, Luke, I can't. With a guttural scream, my pussy twitches and squeezes his throbbing cock as the most powerful orgasm I've ever experienced crashes over me. I cream shamelessly all over his length, but Luke doesn't falter. He keeps pounding into my spasming pussy relentlessly, his lips pressed into a tight line until he finally throws his head back with a raw grunt. Thick ropes of his hot release paint my inner walls as his cock pulses over and over. He fills me up so completely with his seed that I feel like I might burst. Shit, I should have warned you. Luke immediately looks remorseful, but I shake my head adamantly. No, I wanted this. I wanted you to fill me up completely. He gives me a wolfish grin. It's a pretty nice view watching my cum dripping out of you. I spread my thighs wider in unabashed invitation. Then watch. Luke's eyes are riveted between my legs as his creamy release slowly leaks out of my well-fucked pussy, trickling down to soak the sheets beneath me. Don't worry about the mess, he rumbles. I'll change the sheets when we're done here. I'm spent, completely and utterly exhausted. Thank you, I tell Luke with a lazy smile. I can barely move right now. He chuckles softly, his rough hand caressing my cheek. Don't worry about a thing, princess. I'll take care of everything. A thought suddenly strikes me. Do you think the others heard us? The walls are pretty thick, he assures me. But even if they did hear something, no one would say anything about it. They might act rowdy, but they're respectful guys. No, they are. I snuggle closer to his warmth. It's crazy how we met, but now it feels like I have a second family. Luke presses a tender kiss on my forehead. It might not feel real, but it is. And more than just a family, you have a man now. Someone you can always count on no matter what. Well, I tease, I've never had a man before, so I'm not sure how this works. He laughs, the sound rumbling through his chest. That's okay. It's also been a long time since I've had a woman. We'll take it slow. Starting with a proper date in 2 days? Why 2 days? Because you must rest before we explore the town. His concern makes my heart flutter. I kiss his rough cheek. You're always so worried about me. It feels amazing to be cherished like this. I'll cherish you forever, Stella. The blaring alarm cuts through our moment, making us both jump. God damn it, Luke growls, gripping the sheets. I thought I'd get to spend the whole night with you. Go, I tell him, pushing at his chest. Go save someone else like you saved me. I'll be here waiting when you get back. He kisses me deeply, passionately. I promise I'll be extra careful now. I have something precious to come back to. I watch him dress quickly and rush out, my body still humming with satisfaction. But before I can fully process everything that just happened, I hear laughing outside my door. Can I come in? Sadie's voice calls out. I groan, pulling the sheets up to cover myself. Damn it, she won the bet about their father's feelings fair and square. When she opens the door, her triumphant grin tells me I won't hear the end of this. But looking at her smug face, I can't help but smile. After all, losing this bet might be the best thing that's ever happened to me. So, she says, bouncing onto the edge of my bed. I believe I don't have to tempt to ask out a certain brooding firefighter. I shrug, trying to appear nonchalant despite my post-coital state. Actually, you might be missing out. I think Kane's more interested in youth than he lets on. Sadie's eyes go wide. Are you just saying that to make me feel better? Because if you are— I'm not, I cut her off. I can't be certain of anything, but I definitely caught him sneaking glances at you when you weren't looking. Whether those mean anything, well, there's only one way to find out. Sadie leans forward, clenching her fists as she takes a deep breath. I just need to be brave enough to make the first move. If he rejects me, fine. At least I tried. But if he says yes to the ball— Her eyes sparkle with hope. I mean, look at Dad. He was single for years and fell in love in a day. If that happens, maybe I can also crack Kane's icy exterior. Right? After today, I believe anything's possible, I say, thinking about how my life has completely changed in just 24 hours. We both laugh, and Sadie's expression turns serious for a moment. I hope you know that you didn't just get a man today. You got a sister. Too. You can count on me for anything. My throat tightens with emotion. Same here. We'll help each other through whatever comes our way. We'll need to stick together to survive in this house full of men, she says playfully. But I can hear the genuine affection in her voice. Laugh, feeling the warmth spread through my chest that has nothing to do with my recent activities with Luke. I've never felt this happy or this accepted before. It's ironic. My house burning down should have been the worst thing that happened to me. But instead, it led me to everything I never knew I needed. Love, family, and belonging. You know what's funny? I tell Sadie. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us can turn into the best things. She nods, understanding precisely what I mean. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes? Exactly like that. I smile, thinking about how fitting that metaphor is. Now, Sadie says with a mischievous grin, let's talk about the best ways to toast Kane to the ball. As we start plotting and giggling like teenage girls, I realize that while I might have lost my house, I've gained something far more precious, a family. And somehow, I know this is just the beginning of our story.
A year later, the wedding day, I adjust my tie for the 100th time, my hand shaking slightly. I've never been this nervous in 20 years of running into burning buildings. My heart's hammering against my ribs like it's trying to escape. And I can barely focus on the reflection staring back at me in the mirror. The fire station's locker room has been transformed into a makeshift groom suit, and my team surrounds me in their tailored suits, all of them grinning like idiots. Some people might think getting married in a fire station is strange, But for Stella and me, it's perfect. This is where we first kissed and fell in love. Even though we bought our own house last year, this place will always be special to us. Kane's steady hand lands on my shoulder. People are waiting, Luke. You look fine? It's time. I turn to face my team. You sure about that? Max's grin widens. Never seen you this nervous, Chief? Not even during that 5-alarm fire last month? Relax, Chief. Ashton runs a hand through his perfectly styled hair. You're the second best looking guy here. Right after me, of course. Damon elbows him hard. Not the time for your ego, man. He turns to me with a warm smile. You look fantastic, Chief. We're all here for you. Hell yeah, Shane chimes in. If you weren't about to marry the love of your life, you'd definitely be fighting off women in that suit. Enough. Kane's authoritative voice cuts through the banter. It's time to go. We exit the locker room and head toward the apparatus bay, now transformed into a wedding venue. The trucks have been moved outside, replaced by rows of white chairs and floral arrangements. As I walk down Theol, our guests rise and applaud. I feel my face heat up at the attention, but know it's worth it. Taking my place at the altar, I nod to the priest and try to steady my breathing. Stella's upstairs in our room, the same room where we first Medell with Sadie, Jenna, and Patricia, Damon's and Shane's wives. Every second of waiting feels like an eternity. Then suddenly, the music changes and everyone goes silent. My heart stops. The bride is coming. I think about how much has changed in 12 months. Sadie finally got herdance with Kane at the Firefighters ball. They've been inseparable since. My team has grown stronger, and our family is bigger, with everyone having a girlfriend now. And Stella. My beautiful Stella has brought light and Lavento every corner of my life. She saved me just as much as I saved her that night. And though she never believes it when I tell her, she gave me a reason to come home safe every night. Gave back the passion for life I'd lost somewhere along the way. The door's open, and there she is. My breath catches in my throat as I see her in white. Walking toward me with that radiant smile I fell in love with. The lace dress beautifully highlights her curves, and her dark hair falls in soft waves around her face. She looks like an angel. My angel and I have to blink back tears today. I'm not just gaining a wife, I'm completing our family. And as I watch her walk toward me, I know with absolute certainty that running into that burning house that night wasn't just luck or fate. It was destiny. I watched my beautiful bride approach, knowing in my soul that we were mad for each other. The universe just had a peculiar sense of humor in how it brought us together. These past months have been transformative for both of us. Stella's found her true calling, illustrating romance novel covers with a passion that lights her up from within. She's already completed a few covers, and the authors are so impressed there, spreading her name throughout the romance community. Seeing her flourish and her confidence grow makes my heart swell with pride. But right now, all I can focus on is how breathtaking she looks in her flowing flawed dress. That smile hitting me like a punch to the gut. She's only meters away now, and my throat feels too tight. Words stuck somewhere between my racing heart and dry mouth. Anxiety creeps in. What if I mess this up? No, I can't love her too much. We've been planning our future together, talking about having kids and traveling more if I can convince Kane to take over as chief during our absences. He insists he's not leadership material, telling me to find Sumi and Niels, but who? The question's been weighing on me. I'm so lost in my thoughts that I barely register Stella taking her place beside me until she whispers, "Are you okay?" Just a bit nervous, I stammer, my voice rough with emotion. Me too, she admits softly. But being close to you makes everything better. Love you so much, I manage to say. Love you too, she replies, her green eyes shining with tears. The priest clears his throat, bringing us back to the moment. Our guests settle into their seats as he begins the ceremony, but I barely hear the words. All I can focus on is Stella's hand in mine, the way she keeps stealing glances at me, that beautiful smile that hasn't left her face. Finally, those magical words, "You may now kiss the bride." I don't waste a single second. Pulling Stella into my arms and capturing her lips in a passionate kiss that tries to convey everything in my overflowing heart. Our friends and family erupt in cheers and whistles, but I barely notice with my eyes still closed, Stella in my arms. I know with absolute certainty that I've never been happier or more complete. Some might think my best years are behind me at 42, but I know the truth. My life is just beginning with my beautiful wife, our amazing family, and all the adventures ahead of us. I finally understand what true fulfillment feels like. This is everything I never knew I needed. Everything I never knew to wish for. And as I finally open my eyes to look at my bride, I silently thank that fire that brought us together. Because from those flames, we found our destiny.